Remodeling. View their stunning transformations online at the4everremodeling.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan Proft here. Following up on the story that broke last week, terrible story out of Johnson County, Indiana, where an illegal from Kyrgyzstan obtained a CDL license in Pennsylvania and killed 4 Amish men in Indiana in a crash. A father and 2 sons and a family friend. The driver in critical condition. Mike Tobin, our friend Mike Tobin over at Fox News, reporting on it over the weekend, updating the story.
It's another case of someone who entered the U.S. under Biden administration policies, went to a sanctuary state, got a license to get behind a big rig, and now someone is hurt or killed. It happened in Indiana on Tuesday. One truck on State Road 67 slowed down. The truck behind him did not, instead swerved into oncoming traffic. The truck hit a van transporting 4 men from Indiana's Amish community. The 4 men were killed. The driver of that van is now in critical condition. Indiana State Police report the driver of the semi-truck is 30-year-old Bezkan Beshikiv from Kazakhstan. He entered the U.S. using the Biden administration CBP-1 cell phone app, and that was in December of 23. Beshikiv was issued a commercial driver's license by the state of Pennsylvania. Now, the issue of undocumented people behind the wheel of big rigs is painful for Marcus Coleman. In June of 2024, his 5-year-old daughter was critically injured by a driver from India who entered the U.S. illegally and got a commercial driver's license when he was still a teenager. Dahlia will spend the rest of her life in need of medical care.
She's not going to make a full recovery. She's going to be on therapies for the rest of her life. She's going to be on medication the rest of her life. And we've pretty much come to the terms that she's not going to be self-sufficient. She's going to basically have to have a guardian and pretty much a chaperone and caretaker with her pretty much everywhere she goes.
Now, related to the Indiana crash and the driver who got a CDL in Pennsylvania, Governor Josh Shapiro issued a statement to Fox News saying Bezkan Beshikiv had legal status when he got his license and is still legal on the database. Quote, Kristi Noem should focus on minding shop in her own agency as her incompetence and operational failures seem to be matching the scale of her moral failures. Now, with the Indiana case, the Hoosier State cooperates with ICE. The driver was handed over in the jail. Beshikiv is now in federal custody.
That's some statement from Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro. I mean, wow, he's supposed to be a moderate. Pretty arrogant when somebody you conferred a CDL license to, dubious legal status. I guess, technically, since the rule of law was suspended under Biden and he was paroled into the country through that app, I guess technically he was legal by decree of Biden, but not under federal immigration law. And even if he was, he had a right to work. Did he? How did he obtain a CDL license? And he kills 4 people and critically injures a 5th, and you're taking that as an opportunity to attack Kristi Noem rather than say we got to do something about people in this country illegally or under dubious legal status who are being conferred licenses that they shouldn't be conferred and are a danger on the road. Not to mention, I mean, if we could just expand this out a little bit, the fraud that we know is endemic in the conference of CDL licenses, Secretary of State's office, particularly in sanctuary states. I mean, you don't think this sends a beacon signal throughout the world to terrorist organizations? This is a path in, and if you, rather than planes, the next time we can use we can use tractor trailer trucks to attack America and American institutions. I mean, wow. I would be a little humbled if I was the Pennsylvania governor and somebody got a CDL license from my state and killed 4 people in Indiana. But I guess that's just not how it's going to be with the left, even those that we're supposed to believe are moderates. Pennsylvania, not a sanctuary state. But that has very little to do with Josh Shapiro, it would seem obvious. For more on this topic and others, Stephen Bucci joins us. Served America for 3 decades as an Army Special Forces officer, a top Pentagon official, now a visiting fellow in the Heritage Foundation's Allison Center for Foreign Policy Studies. Stephen, thanks for being with us.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me back on the show.
Well, I wanted to revisit this, amid all the tumult and manufactured outrage in the direction of federal law enforcement and the enforcement of immigration law and everybody that's chiming in, since we're sort of losing focus. Tom Homan is helping at least some of us who are sane return to the focus here. But we're not just talking about Americans and even other people who are not here legally but who are otherwise peaceful being hurt or killed by people who shouldn't be in this country. I mean, let's remember, too, we don't really have a handle. We hear numbers, but it still doesn't seem like we have a real handle on the national security threats that are here, as well as the vulnerabilities from people who are here that have access back or that are here on behalf of transnational criminal gangs like TDA or terrorist organizations or some combination of the two, which I guess TDA now constitutes.
Yeah, this is just, shame on Josh Shapiro. His state screwed up, right? Now, his state didn't let this guy into the country. The Biden administration did. But getting a CDL license to drive a big rig is a big deal. I mean, it's not an easy test to pass, but somehow this guy who probably doesn't even speak English suddenly gets this thing. How, sure are we that this guy really passed a test? That's what Josh Shapiro should be apologizing for. He didn't let the guy in. Okay, I'll give him a pass on that part. But the fact that his state issued this guy a license to drive a big rig, which means he could drive it anywhere in the country, and clearly he was not sufficiently skillful at it to do the job right, and now 4 people are dead. There should be some, act of conscience there to say, yeah, I guess our state screwed up on this one. We need to do better at who we give these licenses to. To just turn it around like that shows you that Josh Shapiro is not a moderate as he portrays himself and as the news portrays him. He might be more moderate than some of his party mates, but apparently that's not saying too much.
Yeah, that means he's just right of Stalin with respect to his party mates just about these days. I mean, listen to this, too, by the way. You're going to love this. This is for not just for entertainment purposes, but it really drives home a point. You think the pronouncements about illegal immigration over the last 25, 30 years from Obama and Clinton and Schumer and others, you think they're a while to hear in the modern context with the 180s they've done? Joe Scarborough in 2003, fresh out of Congress and on his way to media stardom at MSNBC, tackling the issue at the time under disgraced and ultimately recalled California Governor Gray Davis. The issue at the time, this is almost 23 years ago now, driver's licenses for illegals in California. This is how long this has been going on and allowed to metastasize. But listen to Scarborough characterize the issue.
Tonight on Scarborough Country, a bill approved by the state of California giving illegal immigrants driver's licenses. Is this a desperate move by Democrats to keep Gray Davis in office at the expense of national security? Tonight, we look at the left coast's most endangered politician, Governor Gray Davis, and his Democratic Party's latest attempts to show illegal aliens that crime pays. The Democratic legislature has actually passed a bill out of committee that allows illegal immigrants to get a California's driver's license. That's right. And by giving these criminals the most accepted form of identification in America, the California Democrats buy votes for themselves, and it looks like, to me at least, that political gamemanship is trumping national security. As illegal immigrants are given a free pass, this plan seems to me to legitimize illegal immigration once and for all. And it's dangerous, and it owes more to winning votes for politicians than keeping our country safe from future terror attacks. It's frightening, folks. Aren't we sending a message to illegal immigrants? Break our laws, come into our country, flood over the borders, and we're going to reward you by giving you a driver's license. They're breaking the law. It's that simple. If you break the law, you shouldn't get a driver's license. You shouldn't be in our country.
criminals, breaking the law, national security, left coast. Who's that guy?
Well, I have to tell you, when I was living in Washington and a full timer at Heritage instead of a visiting fellow, they used to have in our little gym that we had in the basement that Joe Scarborough would be on every morning because back then he was for the people on that side of the coin, he was reasonable. And you hear stuff like this and you go, wow, that guy's a pretty sharp guy. He's got a handle on this. And now you listen to him and go, who stole his body? Who is now coming up with these the sayings that they're putting out now? He's just, I guess it's Trump derangement. I hate using that term because I think it's stupid, but
I think it's a commentary on just what people will do for 30 pieces of silver. That's what I think it is.
He has turned out to be a man not with a lot of moral values behind the curtain.
But I mean, the interesting thing too is, I mean, I'm sure you've been thinking about discussing both inside and outside the government. I mean, these issues were once properly conceived of national security issues that required some intelligence. And I'm all for federalism, but but there's also limitations in terms of the full faith and credit and the idea that one state can unleash hell on the country without recrimination or repercussion. I mean, there has to be creative ways to address that, just as the discussion happening right now at the national level over the SAVE Act and voter ID.
Yeah, it is really a shame that somehow we've gone. It's like pre-Civil War. And the states think they're predominant. They can do whatever they want. Nobody can touch them. And they've got federal judges in some cases who are saying, yeah, they're right. You can't make them do this. What happened to our judiciary and this idea of the supremacy of federal law? Those laws are passed by congressmen and senators that represent, and as a body, the entire country. There's supposed to be some gravitas to that. Now, apparently, anybody can just do whatever they please. And it's scary because some of this stuff is lunacy that these states are doing. California is obviously the biggest example of it. They just go on and on, more and more stuff. And then I love California because they do all this stuff. They give the middle finger to the federal government. And they say, oh, by the way, you need to pay us all this money to help us because otherwise it's not fair. Like, really? How does that work? I just don't understand it.
Yeah, and then if California doesn't abide the strings that the federal government attaches to cash, you get a federal judge to intervene on California's behalf. I mean, it's, fortunately we have appellate courts that are intervening too, and they're intervening on the behalf of the Trump administration on things like the president's, the executive's power over border security. But I mean, good grief. I wanted to get your take on one other matter, this development over the weekend. The Japanese prime minister, who she's pretty conservative and is allied with the president. The president, in fact, endorsed her before this landslide victory she enjoyed. Here's what Scott Bessent had to say about the Japanese PM.
Japan, the prime minister called a snap election, the quickest snap election in Japanese history. And boy, has she had a big victory today. She's going to have 2/3 majority in the upper house. President Trump endorsed her last week. She is a great ally, great relationship with the president. And when Japan is strong, the U.S. is strong in Asia.
How important is Takaichi, the prime minister there, and this victory for the Trump administration and what it's attempting to do in the Pacific Rim?
It's hugely important. The Japanese, aside from being a major economic partner with us in all sorts of ways, they're the country that if they asked for nuclear weapons technology, and we gave them a thumbs up, they could have the stuff built in weeks because they have all the technology already, but they voluntarily don't use any of it. They have been as quiet and sort of sensitive to their neighbors and the bad feelings left from World War II as anybody in the world. Their military is specifically focused on defending the Japanese homeland, but I got to tell you, they have a capability that they could do a lot more than that. They are very good, very professional, incredibly capable. So they're an enormous part of our balancing the aggression that China shows around the region and the Chinese continual effort to say, this is our region, everybody else needs to get out, and everybody who stays in needs to bow the knee to us. We need to make sure that Japan never has to face that choice, at least not alone, as we go forward. So, yeah, incredibly important partner for us.
Stephen Bucci served America for 3 decades as an Army Special Forces officer and top Pentagon official, now a visiting fellow in the Heritage Foundation's Allison Center for Foreign Policy Studies. Stephen, thank you as always.
It's my pleasure. I look forward to talking to you next week.
Yep, me too. And Stephen joined us on Chicago's Morning Answer.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Did you know GoodRx can help you save on medication, manage prescriptions, and get trusted health information? If you're one of the millions living with a heart condition, check